Monday, the 27th of January 2025, and London session has just begun. Markets are open. I am planning on taking a few trades for today. But first, let's talk about the trades I had left open last Friday. I did decide to let both the DAX trade and the Dow trade run into close, which probably wasn't the best idea with hindsight, but that's what I did, and they did reverse, so it was just this hitting TP. And I also tried a long position in gold today before I started recording. Reason being, we had just gone below previous day low and was starting to recover. So on this little retrace here, I was hoping that this low would hold, basically. So I'm quite fine with this entry. We just got stopped out and then reversed. Happens. Generally, previous day low is a good place to target a reversal, and a lot of traders do. You do expect some liquidity to come in and some buying pressure to come in here, especially since we've been in an uptrend for so long. So it's nothing out of the ordinary. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be this time. I will wait for my mechanical entry, which for today in gold is the completion of the first 15-minute bar and the break of that bar. So I'll wait for that. And I will also be taking the break of the second 5-minute bar, but with a twist. I will only be taking it if it triggers long. So we'll wait for that. For the UK 100, I am going to be looking at the first 15-minute bar break, but also just on the long side. And then the second 15-minute bar either way. So I'm adding an extra layer to my strategy here. I spent the weekend analyzing the entries, and by looking at the data for each entry, I was able to gain a better understanding of where the winning comes from in every entry. And so I'm eliminating some of the triggers, and I am adjusting some of the triggers. So for example, right now I'm only going to be taking the long fill on the second 5-minute in the DAX, but not the short fill. And for the second 15-minute bar completion in the DAX, I will also only be considering the long fill and not the short fill. So we'll bring you back for that, and we'll see what happens. So the second 5-minute bar has completed, and I've placed the long order, and it's just going to be the long order. No short order this time. And we'll see what happens. I'll keep monitoring price action, waiting for the completion of the second 15-minute bar. I've also placed a sell order below the first 5-minute bar in the UK 100, because this is a short trigger if we get here. It has worked well the past few days. So if it triggers again, I'm looking to take it. If we go below this bar, I'm not interested in the short for now. And if this doesn't fill, I will focus on the break of the first 15-minute bar. And I will also place a buy order above it, but we'll wait to get closer to its completion. So here we would have been filled short in the DAX, and my research is showing me that the short fill on this entry hasn't been that great. So I'm basically betting on it not dumping, but I'm not gonna go long from here because it's kind of knife catching behavior. So if it does sell here, I'm perfectly comfortable with missing out, just because my research is showing that this short entry here isn't that great lately. And as I've said in the start of the video, a bit unfortunate with gold here, but what can you do? I like the entry. We went below previous day low, was going back into the range, but it did want to make a stronger dump, I guess. Now if we close above all of this, quite tempted to go long, but at the same time I will be placing a long order anyway at the completion of the first 15-minute bar, so just gonna wait for that instead, and I'll bring you back. So I have placed both my orders here in the UK 100 and the long order in gold. Obviously this will trigger whenever price gets to it, so not at the close, but that's the strategy, and obviously a short order has to be at the bottom here. And we have gotten filled long, so deleting this. The sizing is kind of, yeah, I was just looking at it now. Sizing is kind of big. So I do need to remove a bit from this, unfortunately, to respect a bit more, to respect the maximum risk per trade. So now I am risking $50, which is the absolute limit. So I've removed a bit off, just to respect the maximum risk per trade. And in terms of targeting here, I'm not gonna go too high, because we have sold off quite a bit. And even though I do believe that we can attack the all-time highs here, I don't want to be how do I say, I don't want to be like super optimistic and miss out on some profit here, because I do think it's going to be complicated price action. I don't think we'll see just a clean move upwards. So I'll just play it like that. I think this area here is quite nice. If we use the fib here, that is a key area of reversal, so I think this is fine. Still no fill here. And here, like I said, we would have gotten filled short, but wouldn't be looking extra great so far, so let's see. And I've yet to add the orders in the Dow, so I'll do that now. It's actually a 100-point range here, which is kind of unexpected for the Dow in the EU session, but we've had volatility overnight. So like that. And I'll pause you and wait for a fill now. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I have gotten filled short here in the Dow. So looking at a higher time frame and the general outlook, I will be targeting this area here, which was a resistance area where we broke out. So if we dump here, this is where I would expect price to go, and then maybe stop here, or at least use this area as a bit of consolidation before the next move. And the stop is in the place of the long order as per usual. So these are the positions I'm holding and keeping the orders here. When the second 15-minute bar in the DAX completes, I will also mark that, but also only with a long order. So if we do get above and filled long, I'll probably gonna delete this and just keep the one order, but let's see. The second 15-minute bar has completed, and I'm only taking a long entry here. So place the long order above the second 15-minute bar. Now just analyzing it, had I taken the short off the break of the second 5-minute bar, it would be like 24 points in profit. It's not enough to close it, so as you can see, it's not very convinced to go down. If it goes down, it goes down, of course, but we are in this key area of consolidation where we broke out, so it's natural that this sets as some support. But let's see what happens. My decision making is based completely on research and data, so it's not random, and if it doesn't work out, that's perfectly fine. So I'll pause you, and probably gonna get a fill in the UK 100 quite soon. Let's see. And gold is trying to break out. Hopefully it just closes above this wick now and clears it. But let's see. So I have gotten filled long here. Deciding on a target, let's put like the very middle of Friday's US session. And I've placed a stop, but I'm also leaving the short order here because this short order is based on a different strategy. So if we do hit that spot, I do want to be filled short there. So we're gonna get stopped out and filled short if we reach that level. Obviously, I'm aware that we are longing into resistance here, but this is a mechanical entry, super researched, so taking it as planned. The Dow does look to be weak, but we're almost halfway there in terms of target in the Dow, so that's nice. Let's hope this continues. The UK 100 is retracing a bit, but let's see, there's plenty of demand below here, as we've seen, so no real need to panic just yet. Or well, no real need to panic ever, because we're executing a strategy over the long term, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I'll pause you again, and you'll get to see instantly how we progress here. So we are about 100 points of profit in the Dow here. What I'm asking myself now is if I actually want to let this run towards the target. Reason being, generally on this entry, I've made 120 points at the most, but generally 60, 50, 100. Now I realize that this move is stronger now because we've sold off into the night and it looks to be more volatile, but we are reaching the zone of bounce back, so I just think it's fine to close there manually. And it's pretty much almost 100 points, even if it goes lower here, which it might. This isn't the trade I want to let run, and I'm just going to trust my research and actually just take it there. Would have gone lower, but that's fine. I think that's nice execution, and I'm using my research again to exit there. We had to do it lower volume, of course, than what I usually would have liked. So that's perhaps why $42 doesn't really look that impressive, but it's 100 points. So that's pretty much the upper end of the target. So I'm fine with that. And I'll let the others run, and still waiting for a fill in the DAX perhaps here. We haven't really dumped in the DAX. Compared to the other indices. So the European indices are looking a bit better than the US indices. But let's see. A little update here. We are a bit undecided on gold here. Tried to break out, retraced. Demand is stepping back in here. So just want to stay above this entry point now basically and not close below it. But let's see. Also, we're starting to reverse in the DAX and the Dow. So if we look here at my exit, it was pretty close to the bottom. Could have held out for a little longer. I don't think our target would have hit. If I remember correctly, I was targeting this area here of breakout. So yeah, I think we would have just missed TP anyway, and would have to close it manually. So I think this was a very good exit based on research, and you can see how the market kind of agrees, regardless of what happens here. So now we're retracing in the DAX, and we will go long if we touch this. Again, just following our strategy and our research. And another attempt to break out in the UK 100 here. Just have to close above Asia range. Now the danger here is that we just match it in reverse. So a double top, but we'll see. Again, like I keep saying, this is all based on research. Yeah, they are mechanical entries, and they turn a profit in the long run if we keep doing the research and going by the data. So this is why I'm not too worried of any losing trade. And obviously sometimes you get in bad runs, and I also do a few trades that aren't mechanical and are just price action, support and resistance, supply and demand trades. But those are also based on a lot of experience, a lot of practice, and a lot of research, although they are not mechanical, of course. So we do have a very comfortable stop here, even if we retrace below here, but I would at the very least expect previous day low to hold now. I'm not ready to move stop loss, but I do think that we shouldn't really close below previous day low for this to work. We do have some news later today, and some of it is actually after the US opens. So that always is something that makes things a bit more difficult, in my opinion, for my mechanical entries, because you can get sudden volatility because of the data, and it's easier to lose out with mechanical entries when you have news that happens after market opens. So I will definitely take that into consideration for the US session, and you might see me playing smaller size or just not taking an entry at all, but we'll see when we get there. We'll see how price action looks, because I do have several entries planned for the US session, especially in the Dow, but those are right at the open, so we'll see, but that might be a bit more complicated. I think my decision not to take the short here in the DAX was the right one. Now, could have made money, like some 30 points on the short side. But as you can see, this didn't really have legs, and not to mention the short trigger based off the break of the second 15-minute bar. But again, this could reverse now and make it valid, of course. But as of yet, if I were short off this, I wouldn't be feeling too great right now. We would be very close to getting stopped out. So I think the research shows why it's good and relevant. And enough chatter. This is a key moment here. We're going above Asia session and we need to close and not reject. We'll see about that. I'll pause you and bring you back. Oh, and actually just let me show you the live PNL, because I know you want to see that. And I have a habit of not showing it just because generally I've taught myself to stay on a neutral tab here. Because I don't think that seeing the live PNL is generally helpful when you trade. It can play with your emotions. Now I've done this for a while now and it doesn't really affect me anymore, but if there's even like a 1% chance it affects you because you see a spike up or spike down, that can happen quickly sometimes. So if there's any chance it affects you from, letting a trade play out as you've planned it, then I think it's better to just not stay on that tab. So that's why you don't see me actively staying on this tab. So just wanted to explain that. I'll pause you now. So we've spiked up in gold here, and this is a key area. I've obviously placed my TP further up, and this is quite obviously a place where price could reverse. I'm aware of that. I'm at 45 in profit, and the take profit is at 66. So we are talking about an extra $20-something. And it's not the amount that counts, but percentage-wise, it's an extra half of what I was in profit at this point. So if I close early here, I am basically taking a 1-to-1 or even a bit less. But I'm gonna give it a chance to break out here. I do believe that, again, with gold being in such a bull run and us being so close to all-time highs, it could very well be that this sell-off is treated as an opportunity to buy back up. So I do expect some strength here. We could easily just spike up to here. So I'm not gonna rush to close here, but I am thinking about it a bit just because, like I said, this is obviously a spot where we could reverse. And it's also above half of Asia range, so this supply is going to start coming in here if the supply is serious and if sellers here are looking to push price back down again. Going on a shorter time frame here. I think it's fine to close here. It's not of being afraid to let it run, but looking at the outlook for this morning, I do think this could be tricky. Now if this keeps running, that's fine as well. I could have left a bit of it to run and just closed like half, but for this particular entry I had just planned to treat it as a short intraday trade, not something that I wanted to let run. So I'm just going to respect that. Target was maybe a bit too ambitious, but I do believe this is an area where we could see sellers stepping in, and I just want to secure my profit there. As you know, and I've talked about this before, I do not like to close trades early or do panic closing or be too reactive. But this was a conscious decision of me analyzing the structure and deciding that this is a place where buyers could step in. And then you'd have some ranging, and perhaps we would still hit target later on, but for an extra $16, I think, not even 16 because we got 52 out of 66, so for an extra $14 there, I think it's fine to just close here. Especially when the other indices aren't really looking that healthy. Now I know gold is something completely different, a US index, but yeah. So this is the live P&L. We're still in the UK 100 trade. And I am going to let this one run, because if we keep going back up here, we're obviously going to clear this area of consolidation. So there won't be any early close here. Targeting $67 and risking like 49. So let's see. Close to getting a fill in the DAX here as well. We'll bring you back for that. And gold keeps marching on. That's nice to see. Perfectly fine with it. I'm actually more annoyed and frustrated that I got stopped out here. I was thinking about waiting a bit more, but this was actually also made based off a mechanical entry, which I haven't talked about here because it happens before EU opens, and I generally haven't taken it because I usually just sit down on my desk at the time this particular candle happens, but it is the 8:30 AM candle, 8:30 15-minute candle GMT +2, and my research showed that the long break of that, so break on the long side, has been profitable recently, so it triggered long. And as I sat down, I saw this price was here. It was retracing a bit, but in my opinion it was still valid, so I just went long here and was hoping that this demand held, but it didn't. So it went like 1 point below our stop, so we weren't like just stopped, but yeah, could have gotten lucky, but we didn't. And we are close to where our take profit would have been, probably would have hit, but again, completely fine with that decision. We secured most of the profit on what looks like a tricky morning, so I'm very happy with that. And I also avoided a bad entry short in the DAX. So let's see, I'll pause you again and wait for something to happen in the UK 100 here. And maybe get a fill in the DAX. I won't do any other entries. This morning I might do an entry in between sessions, and I'll show you that in the US session if that happens. Nice reaction here after some ranging, and we have been filled in the DAX. Just placing the stop here, risking 55, a bit above, but I just want to leave this sizing for now. And I'm just going to target this area here, and I'll let it run. Nice reaction in the UK 100 as well. Hopefully we do move upwards now. We've retested previous day low, so hopefully it holds now. Let's see, I'll bring you back. A little update here, we just got stopped out on the DAX, so unfortunate, but we executed our plan and it looked promising for a while. Generally, even just the close, the 15-minute close back into Asia range after going below is very bullish and a very bullish trigger. Now this particular entry requires a stop below the low. I wasn't going to move the stop further down. So on our original entry, which was the break of this bar, we just went long and it didn't work out, which is fine. So with that in mind, we only have the UK 100 trade left. This index does look a bit healthier, so hopefully we can eventually break out of this area and start moving forward. Considering we are at a bit of resistance here and we haven't flushed and we still keep trying to go up, I do think that the resistance is getting weaker, so I am cautiously optimistic about this one. If we look at gold, we would have probably just hit TP here, but I think it was a good exit. As we can see, price just stumbled right here. And the same with the Dow. Look at our exit, it was almost the bottom, so research came in handy. Would be annoying if we just get stopped out here and now it continues further up, but that's how it goes sometimes. So I will let this run. It might take a while for it to hit TP or a stop, so I will just let this run and end this video for now. So fairly tricky morning, 2 wins, 1 loss before market opened off camera. It's all up to this trade if this is a profitable morning or not, but yeah, we executed well, I think, and hopefully we have a better US session. So if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to post daily videos with my trading, my entries. I explain all my entries, my plan, my research. Most of my entries are mechanical, so if you want to keep watching, please like and subscribe, and I will see you for the US session.